Indecency involving a minor takes two forms in Texas: indecency by contact and indecency by exposure. Here, a minor means any individual under the age of 17. Indecency by exposure is an allegation that a person has exposed their anus or genitals to a minor or exposed the minor's anus or genitals. This is a third-degree felony, meaning it carries a punishment range of up to 10 years in prison. So it's a minimum of 2 up to a maximum of 10 years in prison, and it carries with it a $10,000 fine. It also carries 10 years registration as a sex offender. That applies if the person receives deferred adjudication, straight probation, or is convicted. Moreover, the 10-year period begins after the sentence is over. So if you're on deferred for 10 years, that's 10 years where probation may require that you register or abide by certain sex offender conditions, and then your state registration requirement begins after that. So 10 years isn't exactly 10 years. Indecency by contact is an allegation that the person contacted the genitals of a minor or caused the minor to touch their genitals. Here, the offense is a second-degree felony, so it's punishable by 2 to 20 years in prison, and it carries a lifetime registration requirement. There's also an affirmative defense for indecency allegations. It's sometimes referred to as the Romeo-Juliet statute. And here, if the alleged victim and the defendant are within 3 years of age, that is an affirmative defense that can be raised in court, which would prevent the person from being culpable or being held criminally responsible for the offense. As an affirmative defense, it means a person can be arrested and charged, but the defense can be raised in court. It is not necessary for a detective to take that into account when deciding whether to file the case, or even the DA's office when deciding whether to accept the case. If you've been charged with indecency in Texas, our goals are fairly clear. First, we want to avoid any sort of prison time. Second, we want to avoid a felony conviction. And third, and this is often the hardest goal to reach, we want to try and avoid registration as a sex offender and all the limitations that come with that. If you've been charged with indecency in Texas, our goals are threefold. First, to keep you out of prison. Second, to avoid a felony conviction and that permanent blemish on your record. Third, to avoid registration as a sex offender. And this is the hardest of those three goals to reach, because any plea to this charge, whether it's deferred, probation, or prison, requires registration as a sex offender. So the only way to avoid that is to beat the charge or plead to a non-sex offense. So get the prosecutor to change the charge. If you have any questions about this charge in Texas, drop a comment below. If you're looking for representation, give us a call at 817-203-2220.